everyone. Welcome to the Funhaus Podcast. It's a very special, fun episode. My name is Lindsay. I'm joined by some of Funhaus talent, beautiful cast members here. We've got Charlotte, Avery.
I'm so glad that you decided to bring us on for one of the fun episodes. That's really nice of you.
That's right. Elyse Willems.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And Dan Schneider.
Hey,
you cannot
I want to come for the
touch.
bad episde too.
Me too.
Say bat episode?
Yes.
Because we did a bat video once, and it was kind of bad.
We're here to talk about Michael
Here's
Keaton
your
as
giggles from
Batman in the
outside.
Flash, right?
Spoilers! Spoilies!
There's a movie called The Batman and the Flash.
With Michael Keaton.
It's
as
called
Batman.
Batman in the Flash.
So Ryan's not here today because Five's a crowd. And that's how the saying goes. And I wanted to spend a little bit of time and talk about the newest season of our D&D tabletop RPG show, Must Be Dice. It's a brand new season called Barbie Didn't Do It. And it was written and DM'd by Elyse.
Brilliant.
And the first episode came out. So I
did?
thought, yeah, it did. Well,
Okay, got
Play
it.
along.
Right.
and so it's me, Charlotte, and Elyse. And Dan has been a producer of many of our Must Be Dice series and board game show. And I just thought we could have a fun conversation about the newest season, about some of our seasons in the past, and just D&D and tabletop gaming in general.
Heck yeah.
So
First of all, I've been looking forward to seeing Elyse DM for, I don't know, 5 or 6.
That
Ever
was
since we
really-
started playing
You're
games.
this
the
the
only
first?
I've wanted
one,
to
Dan.
no,
You're the only one.
there's a long line of 4 of us, I think.
it was such a treat to be like the players who got to have
For
DM
sure.
as our...
It was a big
Elyse is
treat
our DM.
for the two of you to be the mainline characters in this series. It was a weight off of my shoulders, and we can get into that.
Sure, yeah. Well, let's, yeah.
So it's a Barbie. So let's explain a little bit what it is, and that way people can go check it out after this if they want to check it out. It's Barbie themed. It's called Barbie Didn't Do It. Murder mystery.
Dolls, drama, and what's the tagline?
Death.
Death.
Ooh.
I
Dolls, drama, and
kind of
death.
feel like it's Barbie meets true crime too,
Oh,
or
okay.
thriller. It originally was Barbie meets The Fugitive
That's right.
Okay.
because
Still
she's a
kind of
Every
is.
ow,
Yeah.
ow.
No, the other title's better.
And it's a bar PG?
Oh my God, we haven't been using
Charlotte.
that
Too
at
little, too
all.
late, Charlotte.
Have you
Too
been
much
keeping
at the
The show's
perfectly
already
good
out.
time. It's a good amount of things at the right amount of time.
RPG.
Oh my God, I get
Wow.
Stop
Flack.
on the podcast.
I get rebuked for spewing gold.
Oh, it's great. I
Have
think
you
we're-
been holding on to
I think
that?
we're upset that it hasn't been part of the promotion for the show.
Well, let's
Yeah.
think positively, okay?
I'm going to send out some slacks right
Yeah,
now.
we got a couple weeks of episodes.
Yeah, we need to send some corrections.
And once you chew on it, you're gonna realize, like everything I say, there's not a lot of substance. It goes as far as you can throw it. There's
Just
really
word
nothing there.
association.
It's just free association, exactly. it's whatever micro interest I have at the time.
Thankfully, this is a skill that you also brought to
Oh, yeah.
Barbie Didn't Do It.
Boy, did I!
You
I,
did,
I
in
guess I don't
spades.
remember what happened. I
Was it a
blacked
fugue?
out. Yeah, I've been to the fugue state.
You just embodied your character.
And,
A lot of free associating.
Are
yeah,
you a method actress?
No, I don't do that stuff.
Okay.
Well,
you don't go home and go,
You asked
"Ha!"
if-
look in the mirror. I'm Candy.
Oh, I thought you asked if I was a meth head actress.
Yes.
I don't
There it
touch
is
that
again.
stuff. There it is again.
The old
Those
switcheroo.
bathtub drugs. Don't do that.
yeah, so it starts from a place of Barbie is on the lam because she's been accused of killing her new boyfriend, Kenneth. And so she's in hiding and she needs someone to go and clear her name for her because she can't. She'll get arrested. And so she recruits her two best friends, Georgette, played by Lindsay, and Candy, played by Charlotte,
It's true.
to go and do that. And so that's kind of the conceit of the show, and then it expands from there.
We go on an adventure through about 6 episodes, and there's puzzles and there's mysteries and fun characters that appear.
Mini games.
Oh yeah,
Mini-games.
there are puzzles and mini games, which my character's very stupid, so I had an out, but I genuinely didn't realize how to solve one.
Can we talk about that? Because you guys brought it so hard with the characters
Serious.
that you play.
Very hard.
And I kind of gave you a little loose starting point of this is, I think, a character. They're pretty much based, save for the Candy being stupid, they're based on the two of you. So Georgette,
Nice save there.
you went a different way that I thought you were going to go with it
Uh-huh.
because Georgette Lindsay's character is very handy, DIY centric. She can do anything. She's really, really positive. And Candy, Charlotte's character, I made her a musician, and I thought she would just be kind of maybe more like spiritual or in touch with that.
I thought so too, because I had a whole
artistic.
crystal thing.
Yeah, artistic.
But then
But
I
you
made
started with the crystals.
but I also the crystals were just the thing that my boyfriend was
Yeah.
into that I adopted. So I
yeah.
feel like it was in keeping with the character.
Which your love life is also a ongoing plot point of this show because
Yeah,
you
right.
have a paramour in South America who you correspond with by letter, but you've never met.
But you're gonna get married.
I
to.
don't even remember if he has a name.
And then you have sort of this side guy at the restaurant tables that you play at, where he's a
Tables.
he's a busboy.
He's a dishwasher.
He's a dishwasher because at one point I confuse him as a waiter, and you're like,
No.
no.
Well, his
No, no,
name
no.
was like
Zake.
Zake. Yeah.
Zake.
And you were like, well, are always seated at Zake's table. I was like, right, yes, next
The
to
one
the
that's by the
dishwasher.
dishwasher,
Yeah. I have had the pleasure of reliving so much of it because I'm cutting some of it, Dawn's cutting
Yeah.
some of it, so it's all kind of fresh.
It's going to be
Fresh in
fun
your
to
mind,
watch
yeah.
for that same reason. I just
Oh, yeah.
I remember so little of it because we shot it in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
and that's something I want to talk about too a little bit later is like the production experience of doing these types of shows, but also like a RPG role playing experience. And like versus when I'm actually doing it at home, and that I've been doing one campaign for almost a year at home now. And so it's there's a big difference. And I don't want to spoil too much of the whole story in general because I'm really excited for everybody to like watch it as it unfolds. But I do want to know, how long have you been sort of planning like the Barbie RPG, like an RPG or murder mystery themed with Barbie themes?
Well, I know I've been after Elyse to DM for a long time, and we were just in a meeting brainstorming ideas for Must Be Dice seasons, and she just blurted out Barbie RPG, kind of out of nowhere. I don't know. if she'd been
RPG.
thinking
How long
about
ago
it.
was that?
That's
This was
funny.
at the end of last year.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we were thinking about what to do for Must Be Dice this year, and you just blurted it out, and it was one of those moments in a meeting where everyone kind of stops and was like, that's an incredible idea. We need to stop everything we're doing and make that instead of whatever bullshit we were coming up with.
I think everything we come up with is good. It's just whether we have
No.
the resources, you know.
Well, that's
little-
true, but it's
little
one of those
bit of
special
both.
moments where it's like, wait, that's too good of an idea to not just be doing this right
'Cause
now.
We're also excited for the Barbie movie.
Yeah,
So-
well, there's a lot of Barbie hype right now because
Yeah.
the movie is coming out, and so you really, I think, nailed the timing and pulled it together.
Thanks.
Were you guys big Barbie kids?
I was.
Yeah,
Are Georgette and Candy Barbie characters?
No,
Or is it,
they're
like,
not.
Custom.
They're not existing characters in the Barbie universe. They're just original
fanfic.
friend. Like, I think it's all parody. So the idea is they're kind of based on
It's a parody.
a character that you
parody.
would
It's parody.
know
It's
to be a Barbie
parody.
friend. And
yeah.
also something we haven't mentioned, and it's not a surprise at
Oh.
all, but is that you're going and you're interrogating Barbie's ex-boyfriends. She has a chain of ex-boyfriends who we feel like know information, and
Right.
they're played by Freddie Wong,
Yep.
Jacob Fullerton, and Patrick Brown.
Yeah.
And
Jacob was almost dead the day. He
Oh
was
my
recording.
God, yeah. So was Patrick.
poor Jacob.
Yeah, on his day he had a very miniature bout of food poisoning.
Oh, that's
Disgusting.
right. He ate some weird food and was like, I need to go home.
Which is something that I will say going into this, I felt really confident in telling a story and making the show, but it's the variables like that
Yeah.
of what can go wrong when you have these
do you
production
pivot?
days planned.
Well,
and
even
they're,
one day you were
know,
like, "Oh, I'm not feeling
the
so
second
great."
day
And I was
after
like, "Are
lunch-
you okay?" You're like,
Yeah.
"No, I don't know. But you
What
just
were we
did the
eating?
recording, like
I don't know.
as
The
if it
second
was
day,
no
I
problem.
just and I think it's like you sit for so long, and because we
Yeah.
shot them over 2 days,
Yeah.
all 6 episodes.
I
It
felt
becomes a
great
lot.
the whole time. I don't know about you, Lindsay.
Charlotte's eating
showed.
clean.
I mean, yeah, it was pretty fun
Burger
too.
King.
But I just
Yeah.
want to clarify too, since we didn't elaborate. But Jacob had, like, I think he had laryngitis.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
when you watch that episode, he's gonna sound real rough, but also doing an Australian accent. So it sounds
Yeah.
he sounds crazy, kind of.
He sounds cool, and he
He was a trooper.
he had messaged me that morning and said, "Hey, I lost my voice. I really want to do this." He'd been practicing it for weeks, doing this. with
He'd been
Steve
watching
Irwin,
so many videos.
and I don't know if I can do it though. And I was like, I totally understand. It's up to you. I kind of left it to him. I'm like, it's
Yeah.
up to you. I'm gonna
Better
call
be
Ryan and
Yeah,
see if
Jacob.
Ryan can do a backup. So I call Ryan, and he wakes up all groggily and is like, sorry, I called
It's
you.
4 p.m.
Yeah. He wakes up super groggily and he's like, sorry, I butt dialed you at 1 a.m. And I'm like, you did not? It's Elyse. He's like, yeah, I did. And I'm like, no, you didn't. And I kind of put it on his radar and he's sort of cool with it. And the other option was to just play his character as an NPC.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's so
More
fun.
to have somebody. do
So
it.
yeah, he rallied and he did it, and I think the show's so much better. Like he really overextended himself to do it, and
It was real
Did you
fun.
test Ryan's accent? Did you make him?
I mean,
Oh, it
we've
would have
only-
been just an
he
abysmal.
He only has the one, so I
it's
mean,
like sort of British.
Rygon.
his Star Wars.
I mean, he
It's-
did.
yeah, Rygon,
he
Star
did
Wars.
do an Australian accent on my show on All Good No Worries when he did an impression of Alana,
Oh
and
my
it sounds a
God.
lot like Rygon. He's like, "Oh, I'm from Australia." That was a little Lindsay, I guess.
yeah, Australia.
Speaking of Ryan, we do need to get him in Must Be Dice at some point.
yeah.
He told me he didn't want to because he's intimidated by being able to do anything in like a role playing game. He's like, I need limited options.
There
I think
are
I think he'd be
limited
great.
options.
I think he'd be great.
Listen, because I know there are limited options because in my D&D that I do at home, which I want to talk about again later, I get mad because I go, why don't you just let me do anything? And he's like,
That's your
not how-
boyfriend that's limiting
I
you
know.
too.
He goes, that's not how we play the game. I go,
never
I don't want to play your game.
Trouble in Paradise.
That's why I liked the way, like the sort of DMing like ethos that has guided so much of Must Be Dice, like the way you guys and Patrick have done it. Like I go back and watch Lasers and Feelings like once a
so
month,
good.
and just the part where you go like, don't you think the pig might have had some cybernetic enhancements? And he just goes, fuck it, that happens. Or he says that in regards to something, and then Mothman, Jesus, that
Oh,
was
yeah.
the same.
Man,
We need to
I
get
want
him
to play.
in.
I want to play a Patrick D&D.
It's so
session.
funny.
Crab
He
truckers.
says no. He says no.
He said
That's
no.
probably true.
He said no. He just learned that word and how to say it that way. He goes no.
The first D&D series I ever did was back in 2014 when for game trailers we did Tabletop Adventures. And that was very unlike what we do here. We did
You guys played actual D&D probably.
yes, we played
And
actual
not making a
D&D.
silly show.
Some of the episodes were like an hour and a half to 2 hours. It was math and
Ugh.
and also like but it was like as a player it was awesome because our DM just rolled like here I think we're more focused on like how do we make this a little bit
Entertaining?
more
It's a show.
contained and entertaining.
Yeah.
And that show was really great and fun and memorable and we played, we did like 30 something episodes and
That's a lot.
How
What
often
was your
stuff.
character's name? Pervy?
he was Pervin's Toscobble because I've done my pathetic Hobbit or Halfling trilogy now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's like the Edgar Wright films.
Yeah. The Cornetto trilogy.
How often? What was the frequency of doing those? Was it streamed? It was recorded.
It was recorded and I think it was weekly and we just went for
Gosh.
Just before
20
streaming
weeks
was
or something.
invented.
Yeah,
You-
it was wild.
Didn't you say like Chris Perkins reached out to you guys?
He-
This is like one of the main guys at
He did.
WotC at Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah, he did
the
stuff
high
with
end.
he was super cool and did some stuff with us.
That's really
which
cool.
was really neat.
That's
And-
so nifty.
Yeah, and I feel like we've like lived a lifetime of D&D here with Twits and Crits and now with Must Be Dice. Like
How
so
long
much
have
variety.
you been doing this for?
I know.
Not long enough because it's still happening. I don't
I mean,
know.
I love it.
This kind of sorry. Go ahead.
No.
I was just gonna say this kind of stuff has ruined playing role playing games for me because every now and then I would play like a one-off of D&D or like go to someone's house where they were play testing their version, which is a just more complex, less fun version of D&D. Like the way you mod Minecraft. And then once I
Did
got
you ruin Minecraft?
she just makes it too complicated. She's like, I'm going to space, and then Rick's like, I blew up the world with a nuclear explosion.
We're just playing mod pack and it's fun. We're having a good time.
Disagree.
She speaks for everyone.
but I can only play now like a role playing game if I know that someone will be able to watch it later and laugh because
Yeah.
like
Why are you
I
wasting
mean,
your creative energy?
Yeah.
she knows like when they do their Star Wars role playing thing and they didn't ask me because I was like, I don't like that shit.
Star
Do
Wars?
you want me to be totally honest about what Charlotte told me?
Oh, about
I
what
wanna
I
be
told you?
toast, yeah.
She because I was like, who should we put in this? Talking to my boyfriend, and Charlotte once told me that she got kicked out from a session because she just was goofing and not taking it
That's
seriously.
not
and-
true.
That's
You're
what
that,
she
you're
said.
that person.
I got kicked out of the group,
Yeah.
not out of a session.
Oh, the group.
The
That's what I
friend
mean. That's
group?
what I mean.
No,
No, like
no.
the
The
role-
roommate group.
the role playing
Oh.
party or whatever.
It was my roommate's D&D group. They said I wasn't taking it seriously
See, she
enough.
got kicked out. So I was like, oh,
You're not taking it
Cameron's
seriously.
not going to handle that well. So
What? Well,
You tell Cameron.
I mean, I wouldn't have wanted to do it anyway, but that's a piss poor reason to exclude someone.
When you play at home, when the cameras are off, do you feel that expectation of you still feel like you need to be performing and on with it? Is it different?
it's not that different. I feel way more laid back because I'm drinking a lot of wine while I'm doing it.
Why weren't you drinking during Barbie?
You could have been.
And
That'd be a good idea.
because I don't want to get sleepy. I always get very sleepy towards the end of our sessions.
Hey, you
and
know-
I'm sitting there going,
What's hours and
"Is
hours?
this over yet?" We do about 3 hours.
That's a lot. Yeah, I'm
That's
glad
kinda what you have to
didn't
do when
ask
you're
me.
actually
But I've grown a
playing with
lot
people.
since that happened. That was almost
I
a
believe
decade
you.
ago. I'm a different person.
You're way more
believe
serious
you.
now.
Well, I mean, no one's saying that. I'm more focused. I
Why
did a
so
whole
serious,
RPG about
Charlotte?
Barbie.
Oh, that's
Remember?
true.
Which we speed ran over 2 days.
Yeah.
It is like an intense kind of marathon of production and
especially
playing
yeah,
games.
especially when you step into the skin of another woman.
There are a couple, like, we've shot other shows where we've done it over weeks. I
Yeah, so
didn't
Super
want to build
Princess
that set.
was over a long period of time.
I
'Cause
felt
we
like
had to
that went
take
on
we had to
forever.
break. We had
Yeah.
to stop in the
Yeah.
middle for. I don't remember.
Patrick
why.
got
think it
pregnant
was-
in season 4. That's why he was behind a counter for all his scenes.
We had a fixed set, though, that we didn't have to break
That
down
was
or
nice.
move.
Because
That's
that was
kind of
airing.
one hassle we have now. At some point, we took like 2 months off of making that show.
It was maybe was it around? No, it wasn't when we're moving. There was some reason it might have been like a holiday or a work break or something like that. Maybe.
It was a lot nicer when you can just put up a set and leave it there.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this thing, we have to change constantly.
But both. What was the one that we just did before this? The Forgotten Planet and Barbie. It was shot in 2 days,
Yeah.
which I don't mind. It's just it is a lot of role playing in 1 day, in 2 days.
It is.
Were there any points where you had to like really pivot, or did it all kind of go according to plan?
No.
'Cause I think John had to like change a lot of stuff.
Was he just kind of letting everybody do whatever?
I think he had
I think-
he had plans to get through a lot of story,
Oh.
and then after like 2 or 3 episodes, like we're never.
Oh,
gonna
the
get
Mondo
here.
effect.
Yeah.
Well, I
What's
was
the
going to
Mondo
say, I
effect?
think that he
Wants
wasn't.
to get through a story.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I can't speak for him, and if he ever wants to talk about it. But from my understanding, I think there was, like a lot of story, and maybe he didn't necessarily think about it let them do a lot of stuff. I think it turned out to be much more like, oops, I forgot that they would make decisions,
Oh.
The
For this,
derail.
which I think is maybe a common mistake that you can
That's
make when
very-
you're
yeah.
planning
Yeah.
a
think
whole story.
like as you're learning to be like a dungeon master, game master, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a time where you're like, I want to play my story. I want people to play my story, and then
Yeah.
there's let's all play a game together. Those are
Yeah.
two different approaches to doing
Yeah.
it. Not that one's better than the other, but
Yeah.
they're very different approaches.
this is a very boring response, but everything went as I hoped it would, and we covered.
She's perfect.
No, it's not that. It's not that. I just
Make up a story
I
about Charlotte throwing left field.
Charlotte
threw
pooped
it.
on the set.
I was sitting down, and you wouldn't be able to tell on camera
You
if you
can't.
hadn't
That's
said
and
something.
she
in
kept
the
saying you
episode.
can't tell. You can't
You were
tell.
wearing a white jumpsuit or something. weren't you?
Overalls.
Overalls.
Yeah. And then let me tell you, it was all over
Yeah.
me. It was covered in shit.
I had like written that 4th season of Crits and
Twitter.
Crits. So
League of Extraordinary Gyremen.
I think in terms of like knowing what volume of content, I was like, oh, okay, I feel like I know how much you can cover in an hour. And with you two, it was a pared down cast, right? There are 2 episodes where it's just the 3 of us
Yeah.
of the 6.
I honestly think that works better
It was- well,
when you have fewer people to get in the way.
Originally, I thought maybe I would cast a 3rd person, like maybe like pull a gal I know from the D&D scene and be like, or tabletop scene,
Third
and be like,
Barbie.
you want to join? But you two have such good chemistry. You play off each other so
We're
well,
very clicky.
And
and you wouldn't have
Would have
welcomed
bullied
them.
this
Would
other
have
person.
rejected
whoever
them.
would have been would have had a bad time because like the not taking it seriously, I think would have amplified on our end, and
yeah.
she'd be like, "I'm a professional D&D person." Sorry, audio.
Oh, and I think
listeners.
ultimately the dynamic of you two being able to play off each other and be goofy and fun and have that very intimate, because you're supposed to be Barbie's best friends,
Yeah.
right? And to have
It's
that
true.
very intimate
BBBFs.
connection. And then the outsider interloper being the Ken, whatever Ken is appearing in that episode, I think it was a fun
Yeah.
dynamic that we landed on. And I think it might have been overwhelming to have a 3rd Barbie.
Yeah.
alongside the two of you.
I definitely liked the setup and the number of you that there were. Just even by the end of the first episode, y'all had embodied Charlotte and Candy, or
See?
Georgette and Candy.
Georgette and
yeah.
Candy.
So
Yeah.
close, so close.
So much. Like, I know you were already living in your character by the end of like playing it for 40 minutes. It was like really impressive.
Yeah.
Well, so without spoiling like too much of the general overall arc, was curious like what kind of inspirations you took from to like kind of create some of the little moments in Barbie. I mean, it's murder mystery, so that's a big one of
Yeah, I love it's one of my favorite genres.
Clue. I took into Clue.
I originally when it was Barbie
The Fugitive, right? Was the initial little
Yeah, and so then I went and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna rewatch The Fugitive, which I did, and then I
kill my wife.
Yeah. And I was like, Harrison Ford and Barbie are very different.
That
But
movie is so
I-
fucking good still.
ultimately didn't end up just parodying the plot of The Fugitive, which I thought maybe I would do.
Okay.
But it does come from a place of murder is committed, Barbie's boyfriend Kenneth, and then she's the accused. So like that's kind of the basis. But I think more of it evolved around who the Kens were, because it's because you go to their worlds, right? So Kenzo Freddy's character is a race car driver.
Yeah.
So that takes you to the racetrack.
Yeah.
And then like Patrick's character is a doctor. So you go to the
Doctor themed stuff.
Just so
He's sending me
condescending
some
and
clips of him, and he's so good.
Oh my God,
so
he's
awful.
such an
He's so
asshole
good.
in
Oh.
this show. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
See, I was thinking he might have been channeling his upset tum tum.
Yeah.
By throwing that anger at you.
no,
too.
he does that when
That's,
he's well.
Okay.
No, that's normal.
There's no
Lindsay,
excuse.
You went kind of like a cowgirl, sort of also farm angle with Georgette.
It's a lot to do with your cow's 40th birth.
Yeah.
There's like I think it's it's the line. Maybe it's in Never Been Kissed. Maybe it's Molly Shannon's character who says nobody's going to want to buy
The cow. No,
If you give the milk
if
away.
you're giving the milk away for free.
I
Or
just
it's some line from one of those 90s films.
I always think when she gets on the Ferris wheel alone and the guy's like, Lonely Rider, bucket 4.
Lonely Rider.
But Charlotte, you played an idiot?
A simpleton, yeah.
Not
with
idiot.
with the peculiar set of gifts.
Yes.
That
With the heart of copper.
Decent musicianship, superhuman strength, which comes up.
That's a recurring theme with your.
Yeah, I thought it was really
characters.
funny if she had idiot strength.
Yeah.
Because I just think that's I love a brutish simpleton, but I did kind of like write quote unquote myself into a corner in a
It
matter
was
of speaking, because it's really hard to problem solve when you are role playing as the dumbest person. Like
Yeah.
She
like
gave you actual gate
she gave
puzzles too,
well
right?
that for some of those I honestly would never have solved, because I just assumed I was like, God, it's just made up gobbledygook.
Oh.
There's nothing on here that makes any sense. And then Lindsay's like, it's a anagram, and I was like, oh. But like I would have to
You were like, I was role playing being stupid.
that was
so I
exactly
played
yeah.
Interesting
Well,
character.
I kind of had to like back
Method.
my way into solving issues, like because I couldn't put it all on Lindsay. I was like, I have to like pull my weight in the RPG, but my character is dumber than a sack of bricks, so I had to like find ways for her to like dumb herself into answers.
You were very artful with it, or you would at least kind of present a different perspective that I think would then give her character a chance to respond and go, no, it's this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I don't know. It's something I think of when I watch Always Sunny, is that it's sort of like a rotating carousel of like intelligence. Like for every given episode, any character could be very stupid or relatively smart. Like
Yeah.
you could picture any one of the gang saying, that's a great idea, or like, no, that's really stupid.
Yeah.
It would never work. And so like I didn't want it to be like, oh, suddenly Candy's smart for this episode. I was like, she's got to be stupid all the way to the finish line.
I think if I had known that you were going to play it stupid, I maybe would have like tailored something at a certain point where I'm like, oh,
putting blocks into shaped holes.
knowing her specific idiocy will make her the person to solve this.
But that is what happened. Like we made it work.
Inadvertently,
Like,
yeah.
didn't
Not-
I like put on a crocodile suit or something
Yes.
and do
Oh,
a
yeah.
beautiful dance?
yeah, by your inventive hand, you made that stuff work.
like Tears of the Kingdom.
yeah, not by me.
I had
as a
ultra
DM,
hand.
I think that's actually one of my favorite parts of like role playing games is you have this little bit of a story. You don't know how to get necessarily where you're going, and you just rely on the people you're playing with to give you that back. It was, part of improv, but It's what I think separates RPGs from just playing a game or playing a board game.
Yeah.
It's like being able to have equal contribution between a storyteller and people that are playing the story as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the story, I don't know. This is probably nothing new, but it exists on its own outside of the rules of the game, which I like. Like, it just makes it so fun to think about and remember and bring up stories.
What you made kind of your own simple version of, it's not D&D. Y'all don't have stats or anything like that. But what made you want to make a super, super simple rolling scheme instead of doing something where they had too many stats and a whole bunch of numbers and a complicated sheet?
I just like when the focus is on like telling a story and role playing and not-
goofs and
goofs
gaffs.
and gaffs.
Yeah, goofs, gaffs.
And the journey.
too.
Yeah.
Chuckles.
And not staring at paper.
Yes, and figuring out like, okay, what do I have to add, modifier do I have to add, which is fun and can be really, really fun. But as an audience,
As a viewer,
you don't always maybe
Yeah.
enjoy.
Yes.
Also, it not being challenging was great. Like, rather than, a fail is going to set us back half an hour, it's just like, oh, you failed, so now we have to find an alternate route.
Yeah, and there were points though too where maybe our system was that you would roll a 6 if you were challenging something or you presented with a challenge, and 1 to 2 was a failure, 5 to 6 was a success, and then 3 to 4 was this gray area. And the 3 to 4 was interesting because there were times where you got this, but maybe your character had a little bit of an aptitude, or there's a point where you two. Candy, this is a minor spoiler, but Candy, not anything that's going to be impactful to you watching the show, but Candy decides to sing to try to get her way out of a situation, and she's a singer.
She is. She
But-
performs at tables.
You roll miserably, so by all accounts you fail. But then Georgette comes in and harmonizes with you, and you roll in that like 3 to 4 area.
yeah.
But the friendship is so strong, and like the camaraderie between you two was like so fun in that moment. That it just felt right to say, okay, you succeed here.
Yeah. But that's what I like about this kind of campaign too, and the way that you set up the rules is because it really lends to the sort of like movie magic or the feel good moment of something when you're watching a movie and you just want something to work just because wouldn't it just be nice? And so like that's what I like about that. It's like, yeah.
It's telling the game, like, be cool. Come on,
Yeah.
man. Like,
Come on, Wayne.
be cool.
Which is literally me and my boyfriend every time we're playing D&D. Come on, man.
The way I look at it is I know what the beats are going to be in the end, and I know, but it's how
Yeah.
we're going to get there is going to be the fun where the unusual stuff can happen, but we still want to try to tell a complete story, beginning, middle, and end. So
I think it's
how are we
actually
gonna do
pretty
that?
tricky. Like make because a lot of these RPGs we're talking about, you play for like 3 hours, and that works for some shows like Critical Role or whatever, like the biggest people on the internet. But for us, trying to take that and make it a 45-minute show that has a beginning, a middle, and end, and beats, and like I think it's actually really complicated. And doing it like live, we don't cut a lot from these episodes. I think it's really impressive trying to do all those things in such a short amount of time. It's not scripted at all. You might have an idea of some beats here or there, but I don't know. I just think the whole idea of it is super fun. Just sitting down and we'll get there. We'll see where we get by the end of 45 minutes. And it's not going to be 3 hours of staring at numbers on paper. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we found like an original way to make RPGs different and interesting and fun shows.
I agree.
We're the first channel to ever make content out of tabletop gaming.
We are.
Wow.
I also
We
knew
are.
we had to make it in a condensed amount of time because there's no way that the bullshit people would spin up. I would remember, like if a week went by,
Oh, it's really hard.
I would not remember
yeah.
some crazy shit Charlotte threw in there of like the dogs chase me. I would have forgotten about the
dogs.
dogs.
I'm just remembering
There's
the
a lot of good
dogs.
recurring
Stay
jokes.
tuned for
Yeah,
the
thanks
dogs.
for
There's
being
a
a good
lot.
sport, Elyse. Because
Oh,
I love like getting on to the smallest detail and carrying it with you through the entire
Yeah.
thing.
That's what I love, and why
Those are
I'm
the
like
best
me
bits.
with the horrible long-term memory. I want those I want always the callbacks, the
Oh, yeah.
carry through stuff. I love those things, but I know that I'm not gonna, as
So you
a
have-
DM.
You have
Because
good
it comes
short-term
back like
memory
a
and bad
little-
long-term memory.
Yes.
That's like the reverse of every human I know.
I know.
Well, it comes back like a little Easter egg.
I
Patrick
do.
has. Did you say Easter egg?
A little
Oh.
Easter egg.
And
This
and
is terrible.
The celebration of Easter.
You-
Yeah, no, this
you
stuff
two
is
that-
very bad.
you two do it so great and so special in this whole show, where both of you are
true.
coming up with so many like funny little tidbits or
I
like
was just trying to keep up with her the whole
curveballs.
time.
You create your
Aw.
own. You really do a great
Fast.
world building job. Like they're the tables.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the dogs. Like, is tables a callback joke or did you? Come
No,
up with
I just thought it
tables?
would be a funny name for a chain restaurant.
I picture it being like
And it is. That
It's
was
so
right.
good.
yeah,
They're
it's
That's
like
right.
a
There really is a
location in
great world.
Malibu.
Yeah,
It's on
just
the
thinking
beach.
about like the people that never left your hometown.
Yeah.
Like, where do they drink on a Friday night?
Applebee's.
They go to tables. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the most generic thing. Like, it could
Tables
have also
Brew
been
House.
And Lindsay kind of
Tables
invents,
Brew House.
Oh yeah, it's a craft club now.
Yeah. It's,
You invent a deceased husband for your character.
Oh yeah. What was his
Oh,
name?
I
Brad?
forget his name.
It
It was something, but
Wait, Georgette
Bill
was
or
married?
something.
yeah,
Boy,
she
was
had
she.
a
Is that
husband,
okay with
a late
Barbie?
husband, and yeah, I don't know. I should have checked, but gosh, and you probably remember more because I
His
don't.
name
I don't know.
Rob?
It's been.
But you guys had a great relationship.
He left me
Oh.
a bunch of money, and I bought a craft shop.
Yeah, and he was a big fan of Freddie's character, the race car
Oh yeah,
driver.
he's a big fan of the race car.
Bud,
driver.
is it Bud?
But maybe it was
Maybe
Bud.
Buck.
Buck.
Maybe
Buck.
it was
Hey,
Buck.
also
was
maybe
Buck.
I'm not. Are we certain?
I think it's Buck.
I remember Buck. I also remember Jeff and Bobby.
Oh, oh my
Jeff
gosh.
and Bobby.
Not a
People have to
spoiler.
watch because, like, yeah, it's like Lindsay and Charlotte,
There's so
unfiltered.
many random things. It's really, really good.
Jeff and
Lindsay and Charlotte at terminal velocity in this show.
is hurtling towards the sun.
Yeah.
Were there any NPCs that you played, Elyse, that stick in your memory?
I actually kind of wish that I had done more with NPCs. Rocky Papaducci is maybe the one.
Oh, Rocky Pepper.
And nobody knows what it means, and you're gonna find
No.
out what Rocky
But I wish
Papaducci
I
means.
found a way to. Yeah,
that was
but
good stuff. There was the other one in the zoo or animal reserve.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
Jacob's kind of assistant or sidekick. and
Yeah.
yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Agreed.
It flew by. It felt long in the moment, but then in retrospect, I'm like, oh, there's not a lot of time to.
It's 6 episodes. Yeah.
6
Yeah.
episodes.
How long are they about?
45 minutes about. I'd say, each episode.
45 minutes. The first episode's already out, so everybody who's watching this can afterwards go check that out.
I'm gonna go watch
Um,
it. I will.
And we're going to take a quick ad break here, and we'll come back and talk a little bit more about RPGs. Is there anything else you want to add about Barbie? Or
Can you put an ad for Barbie in the ads?
sure, go ahead, take it away.
Oh,
We
watch
have
Barbie Didn't Do It right now.
Dolls, drama, and death. I can't.
Dolls, drama, and dogs.
I crossed out
Tables.
the death.
And we'll be
And
right
Jeff and
back.
Bobby.
We'll be right back after this break. Today's podcast episode is sponsored by Shady Rays. All right, it's getting to that time of year where every time I step outside, I pretty much need sunglasses. Most of the time, that's pretty much all year round. But luckily, our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades at an affordable price. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair I've ever worn. I have the ones that have like the no tangle thing, the little aviators. And I tell you what, especially on a hair day like this, they're perfect because otherwise I'd get all in there and be pulling all my hairs out and it's so annoying. If you lose or break your sunglasses even on day one, they'll send you a new pair with no questions asked. And if you don't love your Shady Rays, you can always exchange for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. Every purchase supports the Shady Rays Impact Program, which works directly with our nonprofits in their communities to empower and make adventure accessible for all walks of life. There's really no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use code FHPOD for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. All right, listen up. You might be like, hey, we've heard about RTX lots, but guess what? It's coming up. It's real soon, okay? It is July 7th through the 9th, so join us. It's in a couple weeks. Join us this summer for a memorable weekend at our Camp for Indoor Kids featuring 15+ live shows, special meet and greets, exclusive parties, fun panels, and much more. Sort of like a big carnivals, the vibe that I'm getting, okay? With guests ranging from your favorite RT groups like Funhaus, an Achievement Hunter, and to friends like Therapy Gecko and Super Carlin Bros, the new rock stars. RTX 2023 is an event you don't want to miss. Badges for the 3-day Fun Fest are available for as low as $55. Thanks for listening to get us excited about RTX. We're looking forward to meeting all of you there. Head on over to rtxaustin.com to get more information about the event and buy your badge. All right, right, thanks to those sponsors. Welcome back. Make sure you go watch Barbie RPG.
It is out now.
The Barbie RPG, the first episode's out now.
RPG.
The Barbie RPG. And it's on the
Should've come up with
Funhaus
this 2 weeks ago.
2 YouTube
Yeah.
channel.
Funhaus 2. Well,
So it's all right here
there's
on the
been a
same
debate.
channel.
Yeah.
It's right here on the same
We
channel.
don't need to get into that.
You can watch it. Well, people should just know where they want to watch it.
They should
can
also
watch
look out
it.
for our Oppenheimer RPG. We actually did recreate a nuclear explosion inside our office.
That
then-
Trump Nolan couldn't get a fucking bomb, and we got a bomb.
Yeah, and now you wonder, why did they have to move?
But then Oppenheimer was accused of creating the atom bomb, so he had to go on the lam, and his 2 best friends had to try to clear his name.
And then they found out that the
Dolphenheimer.
accusations were true.
and then he was like, "Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I did do it."
I am become Barbie
Yeah,
destroyer of
me
Ken.
destroyer
Yeah, no,
of-
I don't know. I'm just freewheeling over
Yeah.
here.
Now, at the risk of dating this podcast, which I think, how could you not date a podcast? Pretty much, like a podcast is out when it's out, and then it won't be really relevant at some
I
point.
feel like it'd be cheap.
But I was just gonna say that the Barbie movie is coming out soon, and I regret that I was just gonna say I regret that I watched the trailer. I wish I didn't watch the trailer.
You think it spoils?
I feel like I understand. I have an expectation of the story
Yeah.
now, and I wish I just didn't.
You want to
even
be
watch it.
surprised.
I just wanted to be like Barbie. I don't need to know anything about it.
Hardly
Sign
know
me up.
her.
Barbie, I hardly know me.
I understand that feeling.
Deuteragonist.
I understand that feeling. I hope that we'll get surprised with this movie. But
I hope so too. I mean, it's got a lot of like fun elements. It looks like it's going to be really fun, so I'm hoping that it will be fun.
You know, I just realized the Barbie RPG is filled with tetartagonists. Each
Yeah,
Ken
Tetar-
is the
you and your
4th most
Tetar-
important character.
So that's where I was like, what was the deuteragonist?
Barbie, Georgette, and Candy are the 3 most important characters.
we all know that, Charlotte. Try to keep up.
I'm sorry.
Who's the deuteragonist?
Where did you learn about tetartagonist?
I was
Who taught
I was
you?
doing some research on a Law and Order SVU episode that starred Brian Dennehy, and then I found out that he played Django in Ratatouille, and I'm like, who the hell was that? And I searched Django Ratatouille, and it said Django is Remy and Emil's father in Ratatouille. He is the tetartagonist of the story. And I said, what the hell?
I don't remember that.
Is
at
that what you
all.
named Remy
It's
after?
the 4th most important.
Remy is named after Remy from Ratatouille, and then Gambit.
From the X-Men.
Right.
Yeah.
Gambit
He has
from
2
the
sides.
X-Men.
The
You're familiar with Gambit?
I'm not familiar with X-Men really that much. Sorry,
It's-
X-Men.
it's-
You're not
Sorry,
really
X-Men
losing out.
heads. Sorry, X-Men heads.
Sorry,
I don't
Sean
know.
X-
Reisinger,
guys.
sit down.
Maybe we'll change his name.
You're going to
You know?
change Remy's name?
Maybe.
Really?
Maybe.
Remy is
But
the...
you have all those custom
Butters?
shirts.
But maybe Butters.
Is it tritagonist?
Well, you all know with dogs and pets, you start out with here's their name, and then by the end of it, you're like calling them like
Oh, you got a
you know,
nickname.
yeah.
Sometimes
What's Remy's
I
nickname?
call.
I have 100 for him.
Oh, see, and I don't have that many for
Rinster?
my dog. But name I do call her sometimes, and it's because fucking John Smith called her this one time, and sometimes I go Arliss.
Oh, like a show Arliss?
Because one time he called her Arliss. He's like, "Where's Arliss?" And I'm like, "That's not her name."
I call Remy
It's early
everything.
HBO.
I call him like Spud or Chibo Express, which is a restaurant in downtown
Spud.
Burbank.
Dude, that's cool.
Like, come here, Chibo Express.
My guitar teacher's cat, I'm not going to dox the cat, but one of the names they have for it is Classic Rock FM.
Oh, I love that.
It's just
That's a
so
mouthful.
good. Anyway, that's
How do we get on tetartagonist?
Kens. Tetartagonist. The Kens are all tetartagonists.
Wait, no, I did have a question to keep derailing us. How do you go about researching Law and Order SVU?
I didn't know who the actor was.
There's so
So
many
you're just like
episodes.
IMDb, or
Brian-
is there a special Law and Order
I searched
part of the
Law and
internet?
Order SVU in the name of the episode, which
Oh.
is one word. The real heads, they know that.
It's
And
one
it was
word.
an episode where Brian Dennehy is on his deathbed. He tells a priest who tells Stabler that he has a confession. He turns out to have been one of the Fedora bandits in the 70s and hit a string of 13 bank
my God.
robberies. And I'm like, who is this guy? And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, he's the dude from First Blood.
Yes.
Okay.
He's the police
The dude.
captain. Yeah. he's
Wait,
the dude.
Charlotte, remember the
I
one
forgot
time
you're just
that,
now watching Rambo.
wasn't it you the one time that you told me that there was an old guy that you were thinking of and you couldn't remember the name of?
Oh, now I can't remember anymore. The guy from I couldn't remember any movies he was in or his name. He's in
Just that he was old.
Magnolia. He's the game show host.
Game show.
Oh, Philip
Philip Seymour.
Not
No,
Philip
no.
Seymour Hoffman, but
I'm
Philip
looking. Jimmy
Baker. Something. Philip Baker Hall.
is that it?
Oops.
Yeah, look up Philip
From
Baker
Hard
Hall.
Eight?
Oh yeah, there he is.
There he is.
Oops.
This one was driving. Yes, I do remember that. This one was driving me nuts because I was like, I'm thinking of an old guy, and I can't remember what he looks like. I could only remember that, but you can't search that yet because technology's not there.
Well, there was a time where the internet, like pre-IMDb sort of, where like you just had to hope that some psychopath made a GeoCities where they put an episode guide where they just like wrote out summaries for the TV
of
show
them,
they were
yeah.
obsessed
Guest
with.
stars.
I mean, I remember pre-streaming, my dad would always tell me about the Festivus episode of Seinfeld. I'm like, oh, it's so cool. How can I watch it? He's like, maybe it'll come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
he's like,
You
I-
gotta tune in every day for the rest of your life.
Yeah, he's like, I don't feel like buying it, the box set, so maybe one day it'll be on TV. And I was like, all right, until that day, I'm just gonna wait.
How many VHSs do you think the box set of Seinfeld was?
Did it ever come to VHS?
Did it?
Must have.
Yeah,
I
it
had
must
a
have. I
DVD
feel like
I had a
About
season on DVD.
1997.
what's a
right?
season? 3 tapes? 4 tapes? 5, 6 tapes?
I'm Googling
That's
it.
VHS or regular
Seinfeld,
VHS?
Seinfeld VHS box set.
Oh my God, it would fill a bookshelf. You have to buy the
Seasons
shelf
1.
with it. Yeah.
Oh, see, these are
Custom
still
shelf?
DVDs. They're not showing me
I don't know if it
VHS.
ever
Hey,
came to.
I know Ryan does this podcast. Did you talk about trying to rob the soup Nazi when we went to that comic book
Oh, yeah.
convention in Anaheim?
No.
He like paid for a picture of with a soup Nazi, but then tried to walk away without paying him. And like the soup Nazi was holding on to the $20 bill, trying to
Oh,
Wow.
buy it
what?
from Ryan's hands.
He was actually trying to get banned from the Soup Nazis photo line.
Why
Very
was he
correct.
trying to give him a $20 and then not keep?
That's how much
not-
it cost to get your picture with him. It might have been $40.
My,
Oh my
my
God.
brother got a picture with Charles Martinet and had to pay for it. Voice of
Voice of
Mario.
Mario.
Oh.
Had a convention in the middle of Pennsylvania,
Oh.
like not one of the cities, and like it was just like, oh, I guess he's got to make his buck. Voice actors don't get paid that much, But I'm like, it sucks that my brother had to like pay to like get a picture with this guy. But then shouts out my brother who found him staying in the same hotel as him and went and bothered him at breakfast.
Oh, good.
Really cool thing for my brother to do.
Oh,
He's like,
no.
yeah, he was right there. I could go talk to him. I was like, oh,
I like how
this
you
poor
you
guy.
wouldn't dox your piano teacher's cat, but you're like, I'll call him my brother.
I didn't say his name. Classic rock.
Well, I couldn't find any pictures or references of Seinfeld VHS
Oh, come on.
But-
box sets, but have you guys seen the VHS box set of Must Be Dice Princess Rescue Quest?
No, that's got to be a lot. Of tape.
I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the previous seasons and stories that I know have been done on Must Be Dice. And Dan, you DM'd the last one. There was Forgotten Planet. Sorry,
Forgotten Planet.
John's
But then
not
you did
here.
Super Princess.
Truly forgotten now.
But
Paradise
in the
Path.
fall, there was the Princess
Armando,
Rescue
rest in
Quest.
peace.
Armando DM'd 2. One was Paradise Path. One was Camp Kiki Mama.
Yeah, because there was the weird like proto version of Must
Yeah.
Be Dice, which was like
Right.
weird offshoots. We were calling it Bored as Hell, I think, or it was like had Bored as Hell
Board as
branding.
Hell presents blah blah blah.
But we
I
did
think.
like there was like a Halloween candy, and then there was Camp Kiki
That was a
Mama
one-off,
and Lasers and Feelings.
Mothman.
I feel like I don't remember if Mothman was that.
It was a bit later.
It was later.
That might have
but-
been
yeah.
between 1 and 2 of
Yeah.
Must Be Dice. But I think that's where the idea came from. Is like we like doing these short little bits, and
Yeah.
it kind of. I honestly think it should get back to that maybe, where we do
one-off.
less complicated things, more like 1 or 2 little bits of something, and then move on
Yeah.
to something else.
I mean, I think we should do like an anthology season
I
of
think that'd be
one-offs,
really
and
cool.
like maybe one could be a 2-parter.
I mean, I think that'd be great. I think that was more of like my pitch for the show, but then I
Yeah.
think Armando ran with doing a more complicated, longer.
Yeah.
And that's honestly the thing that seems to build success for these RPG shows is sticking with some character for a long time. and,
Right,
like,
but then it's
one
like
story, but
2 people or 2 or 3 or 4 people have to be dedicated to be doing that. And we got 11 people here, but still having only 4 people be responsible for one thing for like a year plus, that seems like a lot of
crazy.
responsibility.
Yeah.
Critical Role came at a time where they were experimenting with content there, and they do it in the evenings too, right? Like it's not even
they were
like
doing it
it's-
after their day job.
Yeah. So like that's a whole other beast. And I do think though that having a dedicated, consistent cast that you follow is super important because people get invested in the characters
A story.
and then they develop that parasocial relationship with the actors, which
Gets a little creepy.
that's it. Which we
Speaking
definitely
of
see
doxing, you can find us.
Well, and one thing that I do like about the experience of doing the D&D here, and I've only done 2 full ones where I was part of it, because the only other time that we did like role playing that I was a part of was our cameo as the twin giant sisters
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
in
that.
Super Princess
We
Rescue
still have that
Quest.
costume.
It's
if
so
you wanna come back.
uncomfortable.
Which I made, yeah. And then the other one was King's Dilemma, which was a board game, but we added like role playing
Yeah,
elements.
That
to
was
it.
RP
that
to
was
that.
fun. I
That
think
was
about
really
the
fun.
Ashers a lot.
Yeah, that
Really?
was really
Well,
fun.
I'm reading. I just
Just how
started reading The
twisted it is.
Expanse,
Oh.
and like there's always
Okay.
the talk of the Belters, like
Yeah.
who've become like
They're so long.
they're long, yeah, but they're becoming so physiologically and culturally different that they're starting
Yeah.
to become a different species. And like the
Yeah.
Ashers in King's Dilemma started to really
How
have
do you
their
remember
own.
anything about that experience? That is
Because
blank,
Ryan
blank.
seared it into my mind with
That's
chocolate
the only
syrup
actually
and whipped cream.
That's the only thing
Oh.
I remember.
Well, you were right there next to it.
Well, and sorry. All I was gonna say was that what I like about it is like the truncated, like, here's the story. We started it, we ended it. I also like the journey that I'm on now in my personal life with our Star Wars campaign, which
Sounds
is
like you don't though.
the one that I'm doing. Here's the thing: is
I wasn't
think
invited.
I go back and forth. I think I go back
I
and
hear you're
forth
problematic.
because
I
it's.
am. Well, I don't want to. Not on camera. Not on mic.
We've been doing this. It'll be about a year next
Wow.
month.
So your boyfriend's running Star Wars RPG?
So it's a Star Wars RPG. Now I get to play with Jacob Fullerton, and if you know Jacob Fullerton, he's a big Star Wars head, and
What?
also my boyfriend's a big Star Wars head. So he really knows the world. Jacob really knows the world, and then Jacob's fiance, me, and Rick are just like,
Mm-hmm.
Are Jacob and Cam correcting each other all the time?
no, they play really like they'll go this, and they're like, yeah,
Oh, I
that.
didn't know it was.
They,
I thought
they
it'd
wish
be
the 3 of you
competition.
weren't there.
Yeah,
They wish it was
I
the
think
2 of
so.
them.
They want a pared down
Sometimes.
cast. It is weird seeing you guys like approach like the Jacob levels of specificity because you're like, oh, Trandoshans and Nar Shaddaa, and it's like, what the
I also take personal
oh, I'm
issue with now that Lindsay knows more things about Star Wars. I don't like it. She points out weird like things and like tertiary things in the Star Wars universe. She's like, "Oh, there's a glugabah," and I'm like, "Shut the fuck
We
up!
don't like who you're becoming,
That's
Lindsay.
not who you are, Lindsay."
We need to recalibrate
This
you.
never
You like
happened.
plants,
when we were
dogs.
We're gonna go beat up some nerds.
when we were
okay?
doing the Jedi Academy
Jedi
show,
Academy.
you're like, "Oh, there's that character from that race," and I'm like, "What? She's not supposed to know this. She's supposed to be as out of her element as Ryan."
It's like
I always-
it's like Miles Morales getting bit by the spider from the other universe. It's
Yeah.
like you're not supposed to. This
No.
was not supposed to
Not
happen in
supposed
this
to be here.
timeline.
It's cool. It's just like I'm like, when does at what point do you decide that the story ends? And obviously the DM does it, but I'm like, what's the longest campaign you've ever played for fun or for a video?
Oh, for me, it would be like Tabletop Adventures, I guess, like at Game
Is that
Trailers
the-
when,
How long did
Did
that
like
go?
30
did 30
episodes?
something episodes. I think like Dungeons and Daddies, who I'm like pals with, I think for them, they go to like 60 episodes or whatever. They like find their natural conclusion. But then, Drawfee does Drawtectives, which I've been on, and Julia maps out.
Oh, that
we're
shit's
doing
great.
Oh, she's so good at it. She maps out we're doing 10 episodes. And then like with Hyper doing like Kolok, we're doing 20 episodes. Like it's mapping out
And how
You know.
what's the frequency of those? Is it weekly?
for
Like for those
just
named,
when
like,
it's
four different
20, when it's 30.
I
Yeah.
forget how
like-
many of these you've done, Elyse. This is
I
crazy,
know
honestly.
for Drawtectives, I think it's like Julia filming it or them recording it when like they can, because then they have to just draw all of it. And
A
then
little greasy from
I
that
know.
screw.
and with Dungeons and Daddies, it's like weekly they're doing it.
So
And then
have
with-
you been on Dungeons and Daddies?
Yeah, I've done a couple things with them.
The same character? Do you just like pop in as
I've
different
done
characters?
a couple different ones, and
You said, Freddie, you owe me.
I like
Only
to,
for-
I
me-
made
to me
you.
there's nothing more fun than going into somebody else's and just being like, hoo, like I'm the Candyman, you can't catch me, and then you get to leave
Yeah.
and never have to do
Yep,
it again.
And then
like,
you could be like referenced.
yeah.
But like it's very.
Oh,
it's just like.
There was one time where my character that I did with them, they were mentioning her and texting with her. So they texted me in real time and were like sent me a real creepy text message
Oh, no.
that was like how come you won't go to the dance with me or something like that?
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I get a second message that's like, it's ready. Like, we're RPing right now. Like, this is my character
That's the
asking your
cutest like
character.
nerd shit.
Yeah, and it's like
I'm
so
RPing.
reply in your character what your character would say.
Yeah.
So then I'm like texting back and forth, and we're having this really
Did
weird
you get paid for that?
teenager. No.
Wow.
Right.
Oh man,
Canceling
Ooh, scandal.
I will appear in anyone's RPG for free. It's just fun. It's fun. Like having no pressure to think, okay, I gotta set up all this stuff and I gotta forward something along. Like it's so fun just to like pop in and do a little shtick.
Are you doing anything with them on RTX?
No, because I don't think any of our schedules align, which sucks because I was talking with Beth about it and she's like, I want to do stuff with you. And I'm like, I want to do stuff with you too, but I don't think anybody considered that.
Dang.
Yeah, it's bummer, but
So what's the best one?
best one.
You've been in more RPGs than anyone I've ever met in my entire life.
It's the one that she hasn't done yet that I DM.
Oh my god, I think
Lindsay
DMing would be amazing.
Lindsay would be as good at DMing as I would be bad at DMing.
I think
you would be good at it too.
It's
hard, but I think you're
I
great.
probably could.
She's great.
Here's what I think would be.
I just like playing too much.
What I think would be amazing
That's
as a RPG from Funhaus. Lindsay's the DM, right? So picture she's your narrator, she's your world builder, she's giving you this whole universe, telling you the story.
The goddess.
Charlotte is NPC performer. So rather,
I would in a heartbeat.
so Lindsay, you're crafting the story, Lindsay, and then you go to Charlotte like, okay, well in this episode, here's who I think the NPC is going to be, and I want you to play them, and you guys develop that together. But then when you're doing the show, the episode, you know, Charlotte's always come in with all these different characters. That's why I think I personally, as an outsider, feel like your strengths
different
would.
hats.
Not that you wouldn't do the NPCs great too, but
RPG with Char as characters.
That's a fun
it's
idea.
It's like what if you could get a series where Charlotte plays 120 people?
we just
make it
did
as hard as
we just did Barbie. We do the split RPG universe.
Oh.
So James McAvoy.
Ooh.
James
Split?
all
Charlotte
the,
I have to
McAvoy.
understand
The
your
glass
reference.
man.
we all play the
And-
girls you've kidnapped.
Okay, yeah. I'll play them and I'll just play any character from a movie. I'll
Let's
do James
see.
Franco from Spring Break.
Jumper
Spring Break.
RPG.
Jumper RPG, yeah. That would be
What is
cool.
the
and
what is the
normal.
worst movie we could make an RPG out?
I could look that up.
Birth of a Nation?
I could probably find some shit that I watched in my high school days, middle school days, and do an RPG based on those universes.
I know I said that like doing it as content creation has ruined it for me, but I think maybe one day when my many pursuits quiet down and I stop doing everything constantly, I'll find the time to do like a weekly or semi-regular tabletop thing, because like I've realized like how much people do it and like how like tight knit those little groups become, and I have trouble making friends. You know, I don't just get paid to hang out with people constantly. Like I'm lucky I was placed in a place where I could be friends with you guys, but like I'm like I should really try to get into one of those. It seems like a really fun vibe. But then I think once I got into it, I would want it to be recorded.
Yeah.
I'd be like, this is too good. I'm too
I kinda
funny
ran
for
into
this to
that
be wasted on
recently.
these chumps.
For the first time in my life, I'm playing like a long game where we've played for like a couple of months, and it's so fucking funny that I'm like, we could be making money off it. Like
It's a
we
shame
should
no
be
one's
doing
seeing this too.
Yeah, because I mean, we're just loving it and dying laughing and making each other laugh for
But some
you know,
things are just
for
for
so
you,
long.
you
Well,
know?
and that's true, and it's really fun. But I'm like, this is good. People would enjoy it.
And the company owns everything you do.
Yeah, that's true. They might.
And so you gave a lot of examples of really long play sessions that you've done for videos, but have you done like a really long one, or have you done it for yourself?
No, I've never done it for myself.
Never done it
She's
for
been
yourself?
invited a few times.
Do you
She
want to
never
come be
comes.
in a cameo in Star Wars? Which you can do that too. That would be fun.
Can I?
If you want
Star
to.
Wars.
Well, I know you guys hang out and like eat food. So
What Star Wars
that's-
character do you want to
seems
be
like a
in
lure
Lindsay's
to
Star
me.
Oh
Wars show?
no.
That seems like a lure.
I'll come be a character.
You'd be a
for-
Jawa.
I
You could
can,
be a
I'll
Jawa.
ask him, and I'll ask him to like write something for you guys to do.
Ding
That would be
ding.
really
Maybe
fun.
being an Ewok would be funny. But then you don't say anything.
Oh.
Maybe Elyse and I can be like whatever the species that Greg Proops is ahead of at the pod racing thing, and we'll just be a two-headed comedy. I
maybe-
only play two-headed characters.
Maybe we're the ones that sit on the couch and like snack while they play.
Oh, I like that character. I mean,
I'm asking
that's
my
like
boyfriend
my
right now.
No,
Yes, I
Star
am.
Wars.
No, ask him.
Come on. It'll be so fun.
Star Wars.
I like being
Lindsay.
typecast into two-headed.
We'll be like the Jack Black and Lizzo of their RPG, where people will say, this series has
I'm
gone
so
to
tired
shit.
of Star Wars. I'm so tired of
It's
Star
too
Wars.
Oh, I can't stand it. And I went to Disneyland last week, and it was very cool.
Oh.
But even now, after seeing the Millennium Falcon inside and out in real life,
You got to go inside.
you get to
So
fly it in
tired of
Smuggler's
Star Wars.
Run.
I can't. I
Is it
couldn't
takes
wait
a
in
can't
that
believe
line.
you guys are doing Star Wars RPG.
I mean, I
We've
don't
been
think
doing
I
it for a year, so it's like we started this before even the first season of Star Boys, I think. So we've been doing it for a long time. Anyways,
What's your greatest achievement in Star Wars land? What are you guys doing?
what are we doing? Gosh, Rick, what are we doing right now?
Does anybody,
What happened?
Anybody bone in this game? Maybe that'll sweeten
Give me
the
those
pot.
deets.
Yeah.
The game I'm playing in, we fuck around so much we literally make no progress in the story. Like we're
See,
supposedly playing one of these giant books, and there's no way we're making any progress because we're all idiots and we make zero progress. And that's what makes it fun.
I can't remember what's
That's
happening
all
right
about
now.
moves.
Now, because I'm in the headspace and you said book, I'm thinking like, an Evil Dead tabletop would be really fun with the Necronomicon.
We're on Coruscant. That's what he gave me an update. That's what we're doing right now, but I don't remember
That's
what
not-
Well, no, he
That's
first
not
he
doing
said
something,
first
that's
he
a
said
place.
maybe.
Oh, that was
Oh, you
my
got a
response.
maybe,
That was his-
Elyse?
That was his response. If he could do it, he's doubting his ability to like write a
You
character.
kidding?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
just
yeah.
let us
Worthy
rip
of
and
either
roll,
of you.
baby.
That's okay.
Come on.
I'm.
She's like, actually, never mind. I don't want.
well,
any-
Star
I would
Wars,
feed you.
Star Wars,
You
Lindsay.
I
could
would
be Jabba.
feed
You could be
you.
a
3
hut.
hours?
You could be a hut.
Well, no, our portion would be
And
no
our
one's
portion would be
watching it?
12 minutes.
and I'm not making any money. What a money!
If a D&D campaign falls in the woods and no one's around to watch it and subscribe,
No one subs. Was it?
Then
worth
the
it?
only thing that happens is Lindsay's drunk at the end of the night
And sleepy.
and sleepy, which goes hand in hand sometimes.
Yeah, your famous saying, I'm sleep.
I'm so sleep right now.
I'm eepy. I
Um,
just learned that when the kids are saying that.
what is it?
Eepy is when you're tired.
Eepy?
Yeah, eepy.
They're just taking the
that's
S.
just baby talk. I
Yeah.
feel
Make
weepy.
sure I'm not saying anything fucked up.
Yeah. Are you saying something like that? Anyways.
No, it just means sleepy. It's a internet slang.
I do
So
really like.
It's like a picture of a cat and say why he eepy, and it's a cat that looks tired.
I
Sleep is funnier, I think.
I like
Sleep?
when the RPGs are mysteries. If somebody wants to do a really, really awesome locked room mystery RPG,
mystery
I
would
want to
be
play. I want to be one of your players in that.
Can we bring
That's
back
good
your what's the Undertaker's manager character?
Grim
Oh.
Reaper.
Yeah, Grim
And-
Reaper.
Oh yeah, we
Um,
did Murder from the Top Rope. I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
Oh, yeah.
Do we
that
still
was
have
like a
those
special.
ropes?
Rick saved him for a while.
Okay, Rick, do we
Need
have
some
those?
ropes?
You know what else
He's not
I have,
answering me.
actually that I bought years ago? A Wet Hot American Summer RPG.
Oh,
What?
Somebody-
that
yeah.
sounds
This
fun.
exists?
Yes, it's like a whole book
Like a
that
summer
somebody
camp?
made of. You're playing. I guess you're playing counselors in the Wet
That's
Hot
fun.
Can I
American
be
Summer
can I be
universe.
Janine Garofalo? No, wait. Can I be David Hyde Pierce? I
Yes.
said no.
Everything
Well-
you toss becomes a terracotta pot.
Yes, God, so fuck. I gotta watch that shit again. It's so
So good.
I never
funny.
finished the show.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff though I feel like would be really fun to role play. Like
Yeah.
I would want to do like an Office Space one where it's the most mundane and like the villain is like the boss and you have to like fake your
And
way.
it's office politics too.
Off-
So
yeah,
it's like
it's-
somebody left this sandwich in the fridge and it is rotten.
Someone
and
burned popcorn in the fucking microwave.
Yeah, who did
Yeah.
that?
Real drama that
Oh,
happened
today?
here today.
That was
Right
me.
now.
That was me.
Elise!
Elyse!
was
Villain!
me. Wait. Tell me.
As if it's bad enough we don't have a toaster.
So here's
you
So we
have to-
can't have a toaster.
So here's what I was gonna do: I saw this one lone bag of popcorn in the cupboard, and I'm like, I'm gonna make this popcorn and I'm gonna bring it over to everybody. So I do it. It burns. I don't know what's going on with this bag. It burns up, right?
Trick bag?
So the bag is
Oh, it could be
is
a prank.
smoking. It's
Yeah.
like smoking out of this bag, right? So I put it in the
Smoking.
sink. It's smoking.
How long Did you go for? Did you put,
Just
4
8
minutes.
minutes.
It said 4 minutes.
4 minutes is too long. You gotta do 2.5.
I
Even then, it gets a
I use
little
the
crispy.
popcorn setting or whatever.
Never
Oh,
use the
no.
Oh,
popcorn.
you can't
setting.
trust the microwave.
So I throw the bag in the sink.
Yeah.
I empty but it's smoking. I'm like, there's a smoke detector there. I'm like, is this gonna set this off? I need to do something here. So I dump all the popcorn down the garbage disposal.
Down the gullet.
So I run the garbage disposal. But does it still smell smoky in there? Tell me.
Oh, yeah, it was
tell me
bad.
how
It
everybody's
smells like-
reaction.
I walked in
it
there-
kind of smoky over here.
And
I
I
was
had that
actu-
Kill Bill siren went off. in my
Yeah.
head.
But I love
I
it.
was gonna
This
come
is
in
a-
and say, who the fuck?
You said something? You reacted?
I was gonna come in here and say something, but then I forgot on the walk.
This was going to be a classic murder mystery. Like we tracked the trail of popcorn kernels, and like
Oh, man, I shouldn't have said anything.
Leads to Elise's desk.
Well, for a while there were
and there's like soot outside of her office.
For a while there were a few forks and
Who
a
were
plate.
the suspects? I did not leave any dishes or
No.
stuff
But
in
I'm
there.
saying back when that happened, that was a big thing
Oh, yeah.
here.
So I suspected John Holland just because I see him use the microwave a lot.
Okay.
I suspected Gabs because she was like, I got to figure out what I'm going to eat. And like, maybe she figured out
Maybe
popcorn.
she found popcorn.
I never
You
would
did
have
start
suspected.
Sherlocking it. Sweet Elyse.
I wouldn't have suspected me either.
Look
And
at that guilty
I
face.
should have tried to like get in on it and be like, you know what, guys, I think it could be James.
Yeah. You know where it hitches is that
He's gone wicked with
you were
mustache.
doing it for others, which would have made it impossible to deduce because we can only divine selfish motives.
Yeah.
Who's making popcorn to eat?
But it really made
themselves.
you all upset that there was a smell of burnt popcorn.
Oh,
I actually, it
can't
didn't
stand-
bother
I-
me that much.
I have a violent. I worked in
You
movie
don't
theater
like-
for a few
it
years.
burns.
Yeah, it upset me
Yes.
how much it was going to bother Dan.
Yes, thank you.
I
for
just
that.
was like, I can smell somebody burn
was
something.
raging.
And then I walked away. But you know, maybe we'll write it out. Maybe we'll hash it out in another season of RPG. Or
I thought
something.
we got a toaster.
I
for
that
a
would be
second.
perfect for the office.
An office politics
Office
one would
politics.
be really funny.
So
I've got
we are-
that on the brain. I've got the develop RPG with Shara's NPC characters,
I mean,
and it's a mystery.
I say you put them together and I can play the most boring people you could ever think of.
Well, there's a new manager in the office.
Oh my God. It's like the office.
In this office?
And the old manager's
Are we
dead.
playing everyone's
Oh,
playing
man.
a different person in the office?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's like we play like office workers in your traditional office.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
Like-
any
It's
of us
like
have
that
ever
show-
Maybe
worked
like
in
you
an
make
office.
maybe you make
be so fake.
paper.
Oh,
or
we've never
something.
slayed a dragon, Dan. We've never.
Maybe it's a paper factory or a paper mill.
Maybe it's a paper mill. Maybe it's in Pennsylvania.
Why you make that
Where are you
face?
going with this?
Maybe
But-
it's in Scranton.
Anyways, you can watch the rest of the Barbie RPG series that'll be coming out over the next few weeks.
You can listen to it.
You can listen to it wherever you listen to your audio podcasts.
We'll be releasing a children's book version illustrated
Yeah, it's a
by
pop-up book.
Golden Book.
It's a
illustrated
pop-up
by when that experiment where they put spiders on drugs to see how it
Oh,
affected
yeah.
their webs. They did
Caffeine.
the illustrations. It's just the salvia spiders.
There's also a post show on roosterteeth.com.
That's right. There's a little post show that we do for every episode where we just chit chat a little bit about the episode. Thank you for reminding me of that. Anything else you want to add about Barbie or the future?
Still upset about Barbie
Yeah.
G.
I'm mad.
Well, you have a barbecue.
Barbecue.
No, I just
Hell yeah.
appreciate so much.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, like Dan let me
I didn't
do it and
finally got
supporting
you to
it.
do it.
And you just got me on the train. That's a League of Their Own reference. And and Charlotte and Lindsay like
You guys are really,
knocked it out
really
of
good.
the
It was fun.
park.
Really, really good.
Well, there were very good invisible guide rails
as
that
somebody-
just allowed us
yeah.
to just play.
I, as someone that didn't really like have a motivation to DM and really prefers playing, it was like such a joy to have you two be the people
You were
that
so natural at it, though, so
Yeah.
that's why it's
true.
you didn't ever want to do that.
Really
I want to
good.
do it because I want to be controlling.
I want to be silly. you would be not
You wanna
because of the
tell
controlling
no.
part.
I feel like I like hosting, so I feel
You-
like
you-
I would
yeah.
like to,
You would be
curate
great.
an experience.
I would love
you'd be
to,
really good
to
at
have
it.
you GM. I love being silly, which is why
Lindsay
I like
next?
doing
You are a silly goose.
we're trying to figure out what's next. For
We'll
Must Be
figure out
Dice.
what's next for Must Be Dice. In the meantime, you can enjoy the full run of that and all the old series that are on the
Evergreen.
Funhouse 2 channel and the Funhouse channel. So go check those out. And thank you for joining for this very fun episode.
Thank you. And Charlotte, where can people find more of you?
Me? I
All
guess-
order.
Law.order.geocities.
Yeah, you can find me writing articles about Brian Dennehy and his appearances on procedural crime television. Are you actually asking me?
No.
Other places that he's the
maybe.
Tatar
I was
Antagonist.
just taken off guard. No, I'm gonna take
What
the
a
plug.
show.
I'm gonna take the plug. Watch What a Show.
Mom's Home.
Listen to Mom's Home. Okay.
Excellent.
Good tips.
Does anybody else
That was
have any
great.
side hustles? Because I ain't got nothing. I go home and
No.
play Star Wars
baby.
D&D.
Well, I would be podcasting about the missing Titanic researchers, but I don't have one of those
Oh
anymore.
my
Oh.
God.
Start doing a
This-
Funhouse
you're definitely
podcast.
dating this by now because who knows?
All right, we got to wrap
sorry.
this up. Thanks for hanging out for this very fun
Take
episode.
it out.
Dan,
Thank
Elyse,
you so much for having me.
Charlotte,
Thanks, Lindsay.
and tune in next week for just another episode of the Funhouse Podcast.